Every so often, a player with true global world-class quality will come to Major League Soccer to play for the LA Galaxy. But every once in a while, one of those players ends up somewhere else in North America. And this time, that player has ended up in Toronto. Lorenzo Insigne, the Napoli captain, the Euro champion, has signed a 5-year designated player contract with Toronto FC. A guy who has been a regular for Napoli in Serie A since 2012, winning 2 Coppa Italias. A guy who has been a regular for the Italian national team since 2016, winning the 2020 Euro just this past summer, playing a crucial role for that team. A guy who is in the midst of still being a contributor and a regular starter for a top-tier national team. And he's coming now to Major League Soccer to play for Toronto FC. This is by far the biggest name ever to come to Toronto FC, with maybe the exception of that guy who was a bloody big deal that we don't talk about. However, in the era of TFC being a top class team in MLS and not a team trying to reach the top class in MLS, this is by far the biggest signing ever for Toronto FC. People making comparisons to Giovinco. As much as I love Sebastian Giovinco, when we got Sebastian Giovinco, he was a guy in Serie A. Insigne is a star in Serie A. This is a whole other level, and it's a level of stardom to Toronto FC that we have never seen. And it comes at a time, too, where following this past season for TFC, which was an unmitigated disaster, attendances down to 4,000 people or less a game, as no one wanted to spend money to go watch one of the worst teams in Major League Soccer that just barely had any designated players playing, had no star potential actually playing, had young guys that were good but were injured all season. There was just almost nothing to sell this team on. And now they're going to have to expand BMO Field so that it can fit the entire population of Woodbridge. This signing, all of a sudden, once Insigne comes in June, because he's going to finish out the season at Napoli, but once he comes in June in the mid-season, it's going to be the entire population of Woodbridge, the entire Toronto Italian community coming down to every single game to cheer him on. The attention that Insigne is going to bring to TFC, especially from the Italian community that maybe in the past had focused more on European football, is huge, and just the amount of extra attention it's going to bring to TFC, this team, regardless of how they perform throughout the season or how they perform prior to Insigne showing up, is going to sell out that first Insigne game and probably every single game following that match for the rest of the season. I have a friend who for some reason seems to date only Italian girls. He's gonna find that BMO Field is going to be the new hot place to meet girls for him, because it's going to be packed with Italian national team supporters who want to see Insigne every day on top of the regular TFC supporters. Those two groups, finally, it's going to be the extra boost to get TFC up to 100% capacity every single game, and potentially into talks to extend the north end to make the required capacity increase for the 2026 World Cup permanent. On top of all the hype and what this is going to do for increasing TFC's global image and bringing in fans, we need to talk about what this means actually for TFC in terms of roster decisions. Because obviously in Major League Soccer you can only have 3 designated players, and as of right now, Toronto FC already has Pozuelo, Altidore, and Soteldo. And Insigne coming for a reported possibly $13 million a year for 5 years. Obviously you need a designated player spot to accommodate that. Now, from what I've been hearing, it sounds like Jozy Altidore is in talks to be bought out, and also it's potentially possible that Soteldo may be on his way out, transferring back to Brazil to play for Palmeiras. So if that is the case, if both of those are true, that opens up 2 designated player spots. Insigne takes one of them, and the other we'll see. Also, though, because Insigne doesn't come till June because he's finishing the season out in Napoli, we don't actually need to open up a designated player spot until June in mid-season. So that gives TFC a little bit of time to get rid of one of Altidore or Soteldo. Pozuelo's probably going to be sticking around for a while. I would expect Soteldo to be gone, as Insigne plays the left wing usually, and that was Soteldo's position, so it doesn't really make sense to have 2 designated players playing in the exact same position. So this signing most definitely means that Soteldo is unfortunately on his way out, because I kind of really liked him, but you know, Soteldo for Insigne, that's kind of a ginormous upgrade. Also, you're probably wondering, 5-year contract, yes, it goes till 2027. Hard to believe we're already talking about 2027 in terms of contract lengths, but that's how long this one goes to. And yes, Insigne is in his 30s. In fact, right before he comes to Toronto FC in June, he will turn 31, so this contract will take him until he is 36. So not actually that bad. 36 for a footballer in MLS, a international footballer on the scale of Insigne in MLS. 36 is still an age where you can be consistently performing in Major League Soccer if you have the talent for it, which Insigne, by all indications, does. For this season, though, the fact that he doesn't arrive until June is a bit of an issue, because that late February to mid-June window before Insigne shows up, the first half of the season, TFC is going to need a lot more from just the whole team to make sure that when Insigne comes, we're not already knocked out of a playoff spot or barely even in the playoff race. Because if we have the same sort of thing that happened last season, where the first half of the season is a complete disaster, and then when Insigne shows up, we're already like 15 points out of a playoff spot, that's not good, because, you know, yay, Insigne's here, but it doesn't really mean anything in the context of that season. We need the team without Insigne to keep them in the playoff race until Insigne shows up, and then if he's healthy and ready to go right off the bat. I know sometimes the coming from the European season straight into the second half of the MLS season can be tough for players, but if Insigne is fully healthy in June, if he's ready to go in June, if TFC is anywhere near the playoff race, he should provide the extra push required for TFC to get back into the playoffs after the disastrous 2021 season. However, I feel like with a healthy Akinolo, with a healthy Prizo, with Bob Bradley coaching the team now, this team should be fine and right in the battle for the playoff spots before Insigne even gets onto the roster. So there you have it, Lorenzo Insigne, the pride of Italy, 53 caps for the Italian national team, the captain of Napoli, is coming to Toronto. Get your tickets for the second half of the season games early, because they are going to sell quick. That is it for this video. As always, if you like to hit like, if you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.